the green flag is out. The 100-lap Piney Lasky Memorial 105th annual running for 2012 is up to full speed on the backstretch. Most recent winner in the NASCAR Subway late model, Steve Black in car 1, grabs the lead from the 0-2 of Jeff Amsdell, the Ohio Invader. In third spot, Mark Poole in car 96. Then a pair of Buckeye State drivers battling for fourth, the 8 of Wade Minier and the 32 of Glenn Galt Jr. Cody Coughlin in the 1, now also a part of the battle for 5th position. Coughlin in his first Motordrome start. Coughlin, whose family is known worldwide as professional drag racers, cutting his teeth in asphalt late models as a 16-year-old competitor. He takes over the 6th position, just behind Coughlin. The 2 points leaders, the 98 of Motordrome points leader Neil Brown, the 65 of New York's George Scora, the TBRA points leader. Behind them, side by side, Barry Oddie in the 75 and the 11 of fastest qualifier Bob Webber. Webber and Oddie door to door as Webber nearly caught the outside wall last time on the backstretch. Oddie with only 1 win this season. And Tommy Beck of Murraysville heads down pit lane in car 99. Entering his first asphalt track race in 2 seasons, Beck retires the Benz Motorsports machine on lap 5 of 100. Single file throughout the field. Steve Black up front in car 1, extending his lead over the 0-2 of Rocky River, Ohio's Jeff Amsdell. Amsdell, a former main event Outlaw Late Model Series traveler, many times a modified feature winner in the Buckeye State. Mark Poole sits in 3rd spot. His first win since 2010 at Motordrome occurred 2 weeks ago. And in 4th, Wade Minier in car 8. A TBRA loyal follower comes in 7th in the championship points chase. Glenn Galt Jr. got his first career Motordrome win in 2012 in car 32. The Hubbard, Ohio driver sits in 5th spot. He's been a winner with 3 separate touring series. Galt, a winner with the Mid-Atlantic Asphalt Racing Alliance, the ASA North Tour, and the TBRA. Laps in the record books. Steve Black, Jeff Amsdell, Mark Poole, Wade Minier, and Glenn Galt Jr., the top 5. Several stellar New York drivers in the field, none presently in the top 5, as Pennsylvania and Ohio dominate the top positions in the first dozen laps of the Piney Lasky Memorial 100. Former winners of this event in competition tonight include the 98 of Neil Brown and the 28 of Jimmy Carter. Carter from Brook Park, Ohio, has made only 1 start this season at Motordrome and ended in a disastrous lap 1 crash. Race leader Steve Black in car number 1. The Penn West Toyota Lift, Black Mountain Enterprises, Texas Roadhouse Toyota Camry number 1. Black, a Motordrome racing veteran, began in the Pure Stocks, moved up to the Pro Truck Division, and earned the most points in the final season of Truck Division racing at Motordrome. He has since gone on to be a 3-time winner in the NASCAR Subway Late Model Series, and spent some time traveling the MAARA Tour. Black last Friday snapped a 2-year winless drought with a victory in the final 50-lap event for the NASCAR Subway Late Models at Motordrome. In second spot, Rocky River, Ohio's Jeff Amsdell. Amsdell, who led the most laps in the May TBRA stop at Motordrome Speedway, earned a podium finish that night and has a podium finish in his career in the biggest modified event of the season going back a few years. His car 02 now appears to be closing in on Black, the race leader, working lap number 18. Lap traffic not yet a factor, and Amsdell has gained a couple of car lengths. Meanwhile, Amsdell and Black pulling away just a little bit from the 96 of Mark Poole. Coming down pit lane, Scott Baker in car 58X, the former Iceman Series champion and winner this season on the main event Outlaw Tour. Bringing car 58X into the pits, he parks parallel to the trailer, indicating his night is over. Now the leaders face 2 wide lap traffic in turn 1. Virgil Ravenscroft III will go a lap down on lap 20. And now the 02 of Jeff Amsdell within striking distance of the 1 of Steve Black. They work to the outside of Hudson, Ohio's Tom Ferris Jr. in 07. Ferris last season was a top 3 position racer in the TBRA point standings, and already he is a lap down to the top 2. Mark Poole in the 96. He moves to the outside of Ferris. Poole, just like race leader Steve Black, winless since 2010 until 3 weeks ago. Poole, with multiple victories at Motordrome in 2008, 2009, and 2010, got his first checkered flag in 2 seasons just a couple of weeks back in car 96. He drives the Howard Concrete Pumping Donaldson Supply Chevrolet in 3rd. In 4th spot, the 8 of Wade Minier from Akron, Ohio. Minier began his racing career in dirt track micro sprints in western Pennsylvania. Moved on to race midgets and his open wheel racing brother, a regular on the Auto Value Super Sprint Series. Minier in car 8 looking for his first Touring Series win, sits in 4th spot. Then in 5th, the Lennox Heating and Air Conditioning Snow King Aluminum Roof Systems Chevrolet of Glenn Galt Jr., number 32, former champion of the Lake Erie Speedway and 2-time winner in TBRA racing this season, holding down 5th in front of young Cody Coughlin. Lap 26, Steve Black in car 1, weaving through lap traffic with Jeff Amsdell in the 02. They have now separated themselves by more than 7 or 8 car lengths from the 96 of Mark Poole in 3rd. Wade Minier gaining on Poole. He is the 4th place driver as we work lap 27. In clear racetrack, Steve Black is able to put an extra 2 to 3 car lengths between his number 1 and the 02 of Amsdell. And here on lap 28, it is clear racetrack for nearly half a straightaway in front of the leaders. Steve Black in car 1 extending his lead over Amsdell. Black has had a season of misfortune with a very fast race car, several times involved in crashes, mechanical failures, and finally breaking into victory lane once again last Friday here at Motordrome for his 3rd career win in the NASCAR Subway Late Models. Amsdell about 6 car lengths back as they will again approach lap traffic, working lap number 32. The next 2 cars in the sight of the leader, Steve Black, are the 2012 Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Subway Late Models at Motordrome. The 2 of Teddy Gibala and the 51 of Todd Price from Alum Bank. Price has a victory in the NASCAR Subway Late Models. Price is a 2-time former champion of the limited late models at Jennerstown. And he and Gibala, the former street stock winner, now in sights of leader Steve Black coming down the front stretch. Lap 34, and Black goes wheel to wheel with Gibala. Gibala now a lap off the pace, as Black is catching cars at the rear of this field quickly, continuing to put several car lengths between himself and the 02 of Amsdell, and they have broken away from Mark Poole in a big way. Earlier, Wade Minier in the 8 was challenging Poole for third, and now Poole with a couple of car lengths of breathing room between himself and the 8. Amsdell on lap 36, the second place driver, was held up by the 2 of Gibala. On the backstretch, Glenn Galt Jr. in car 32. He set fast time at Motordrome in a TBRA event. He won a TBRA event at Motordrome. And now the son of a former Motordrome and NASCAR Northeast champion is being challenged by the teenager. Cody Coughlin in car 1, the Delaware, Ohio driver. His first ever visit to Motordrome Speedway, and the 16-year-old is threatening to enter the top 5 by passing a 2-time TBRA winner this season, Glenn Galt Jr. It's lap 38, and Galt in car 32 has had a roller coaster season at Motordrome Speedway. In 3 previous starts, he has a win, he has a mechanical failure, and he has a 3rd place finish. Galt's other win on the TBRA Tour this season coming at Lake Erie Speedway, his home racetrack. Cody Coughlin in the 1, a regular traveler with the CRA-sanctioned All-Star Late Model Tour. Coughlin also a regular competitor in the World Series of Stock Car Racing at the New Smyrna Speedway in Florida. And he is still haunting the rear bumper of Glenn Galt Jr. in car 32 in the battle for 5th. "41 laps in the record books. Steve Black with an advantage of about 5 car lengths over Jeff Amsdell. Race leader in turn 4. Amsdell clears the lap traffic. It's clear speedway for a long distance in front of the 1 of Black. They will reach the midpoint of this event before lapped cars are a factor again. And once again in clear racetrack, Black opens up his advantage over Amsdell in the 02. Caution on the speedway. The 3 of Jeff Brown from Hamburg, New York spins. The 44 of Gregory Kelly is a part of the incident as well. 44, Gregory Kelly, a part of the incident in turn 2. Kelly, a former winner in the NASCAR Subway Late Models and a 2-time truck division champion from Connellsville. He continues on in car 44, does not pull to the pits. However, the 3 of Jeff Brown sits at a stop on the backstretch. Brown from Hamburg, New York, led the most laps in the event here back in June and finished in 2nd position in car 3. The New Yorker able to turn that car around. Let's see if he heads to the pits. Meanwhile, on pit lane, the 51 of Todd Price, the Stoystown Auto Wrecking, Mann's Home Medical Service, Frankie Day Oldies Show Ford number 51. Also on pit lane, the 13 of V3, Virgil Ravenscroft III. Mark Poole, Wade Minier, and Glenn Galt Jr. take the green flag with 43 laps completed of the Piney Lasky Memorial 100. Steve Black continues to lead in car 1. The Piney Lasky Memorial would be unquestionably the biggest win of his career. 5 laps from the midpoint of the event, single file and stretched out are the top 4 cars. Car lengths of breathing room between each of Steve Black, Jeff Amsdell, Mark Poole, and Wade Minier. Glenn Galt Jr. pulling up to the rear bumper of Minier. It's 3 Buckeye State drivers consecutively in 4th, 5th, and 6th. Minier, Galt, Coughlin, then the New Yorker George Scora. Mark Poole, Wade Minier, and Glenn Galt Jr. take the green flag with 43 laps completed of the Piney Lasky Memorial 100. Steve Black continues to lead in car 1. The Piney Lasky Memorial would be unquestionably the biggest win of his career. Five laps from the midpoint of the event, single file and stretched out are the top 4 cars. Car lengths of breathing room between each of Steve Black, Jeff Amsdell, Mark Poole, and Wade Minier. Glenn Galt Jr. pulling up to the rear bumper of Minier. It's 3 Buckeye State drivers consecutively in 4th, 5th, and 6th. Minier, Galt, Coughlin, then the New Yorker George Scora. Black extending his lead at the midpoint of the Piney Lasky Memorial 100. The crossed flags are displayed to the field. It's Steve Black, Jeff Amsdell, Mark Poole, Wade Minier, Glenn Galt Jr. Then a few car lengths back to Cody Coughlin and TBRA points leader George Scora from Eden, New York. Barry Audi, the next car in line with Neil Brown and Bob Weber. How about that? Just barely inside the top 10 positions. Fastest qualifier Weber in the 11. Dominant feature winner this season Neil Brown, and defending Motordrome champion Barry Audi. In turn 1 on lap 53, the 65 of George Scora, challenging the 1 of Cody Coughlin for 6th place. Scora, the points leader with TBRA, in car number 65, has a win on the tour. Coughlin still looking for a first checkered flag, as the 16-year-old driver was recently in this event challenging Galt for 5th. Now the top 5 have set sail away from the number 1 machine. And the 65 of Skora is threatening to take away 6th position. In both of Skora's podium finishes at Motordrome this season, he did not show his cards till the end of the race, moving up dramatically in the closing laps and saving tires and equipment for the final run. Now he challenges Coughlin for 6th on the inside in turn 1, and Skora takes the spot away on lap 56. The 65 car on lap 56, 1 spot away from a top 5 running position. It was Glenn Galt Jr. who he chased home in July to finish 2nd here in a TBRA 100 event. Then in our most recent TBRA race here in Smithton, PA, Skora finished 3rd with Galt 2nd behind winner Neil Brown. On the front stretch, the battle for 3rd begins to heat up. Wade Minier in car 8 took a look to the inside of Mark Poole's number 96. Working lap 59. Minier clearly has closed up on Poole, and in turn 4, Minier's number 8 car is clearly superior, able to hold the lowest groove of the speedway, but Poole with the faster car in turns 1 and 2. There are 40 laps to go. Minier in car 8, now firmly planted beneath the 96 of Poole. And it's in turn 4 each lap that Minier is very strong, racing almost below the banking. Now they are door to door at the scoring line. Minier looking for his first TBRA win, as is Poole. Poole with several wins at Motordrome, and the caution flag waves. Turn 4. Problem for the 47 of Scott Wiley. Caution flag for Scott Wiley of Blasdell, New York in car 47. Wiley suffered a devastating crash in his 2nd visit of the season to Motordrome. Side by side for the restart. Mark Poole and Wade Minier in tow, and the green flag is out. George Skora may have been pushing Wade Minier across the starting line as he wants to take a position away from Glenn Galt Jr. Up front, Amsdell unable to stay even with Black, who resumes the lead. And a spin in turns 3 and 4. Joe Beretta in 21, a part of the incident. Brett Guzik actually goes around and spins. Didn't see the incident happen. Guzik making his 2nd career start at Motordrome. Beretta making his 1st. Both drivers from Eastern Pennsylvania involved in an incident in turn 3. In the 2nd row, and the green is out. Amsdell holds firm on the outside lane. Could be a challenge for the lead in turn 3. Black hangs onto it by a car length. Now Mark Poole able to challenge Amsdell. And on lap 62, the top 2 positions are held by Motordrome Subway late model regulars, and a big spin out of turn 2. Gary Wiltrout is involved. Adam Kostelnik is involved. Sam Falone, the New Yorker, is involved. Caution flag once again. Gary Wiltrout in car 95, able to pull away from the scene. He will head down pit lane. Once again, I would assume the next time he comes down the front stretch. Adam Kostelnik pulling away from the scene now. And last year, a winner at Motordrome. Sam Falone in car 48 from North Collins, New York, a part of that incident. Jeff Amsdell and Glenn Galt Jr. in row 2, and we're up to full speed. Mark Poole has beat Steve Black into turn 1. Mark Poole has a fender in front of race-long leader Steve Black on the backstretch. They go door to door into turn 3, the 2 most recent winners in the NASCAR Subway late models at Motordrome. Side by side for the lead in the biggest event of the season. Mark Poole on the outside. And now Glenn Galt Jr. takes 3rd from Jeff Amsdell. Barry Audi storms up 3 positions into 4th in car 75. George Skora, the TBRA points leader, now alongside Ohio's Jeff Amsdell. It's lap 64, and they are battling for the 5th position. Skora will take it away. On the restart, Amsdell loses 3 spots. Barry Audi gains 3 spots. Glenn Galt moves up 1 to 3rd, and Steve Black holds a slim lead over Mark Poole. Lap 65, and a heated battle in the middle of the pack, now in the middle of the backstretch. The one of Cody Coughlin is to the inside of fastest qualifier veteran Bob Webber. It's Ohio versus New York. It's teenager versus veteran. It's Chevrolet versus Ford for the 8th position. Cody Coughlin in the 1, Bob Webber in the 11, still side by side. They are battling just behind Wade Minier. Minier lost several positions on that restart as well. And Coughlin in car 1, getting the best of Webber for this battle at the moment on lap 67, and Jimmy Carter makes contact with Webber. The defending winner of the Piney Lasky Memorial in car 28 got into the rear of the 11 of Bob Webber. The fastest qualifier and the defending winner mired deep in the top 10 on lap 68. Now on the backstretch, challenge for 4th position, George Skora in 65. Lake Erie Speedway's 2012 champion. Moves to the inside of Motordrome's 2011 champion, Barry Audi. Tom Ferris Jr. retires from competition as lap 69 finds a heated battle for 3rd. Skora in 65, Audi in 75. Audi with a victory at Motordrome in 2012. 2nd in the championship points chase coming into tonight with 30 laps to go. Skora using the lowest lane on the speedway, might have dropped a wheel into the grass in turns 1 and 2. And Skora again very low. Sparks from the frame of the race car in turn 3 as he is still to the outside of Audi, officially at the scoring line. Audi holds on to 4th by inches on lap 71. As they race side by side, the top 3 drivers have now checked out. Skora and Audi still door to door for 4th. This time at the scoring line, nearly a dead heat, working lap 72. The longer they race door to door, the faster the top 3 cars will run away from them. Now Skora completes the pass in turn 3. Skora, the 3rd, started deep in this field and has climbed into 4th spot, with 2 podium finishes out of 3 previous starts at Motordrome this year. Up front, Steve Black in the 1 with an advantage of about 3 car lengths over Mark Poole. Then Glenn Galt Jr., who's recently gained 2 positions, to find himself in 3rd. Galt may be gaining on Poole as all 3 of them are pulling away from Skora, the 4th place driver. On the front stretch, Glenn Galt Jr. is gaining on Poole. 25 laps remaining and a spin in turn 4. Gregory Kelly and Adam Kostelnik are involved, and the caution flag will wave. Just what George Skora needed was a caution, and it comes in turn 4. Teddy Gabala makes his way around the incident. Gregory Kelly in 44, Adam Kostelnik in 14. The green flag is out. Side by side, the top 4 exit turn 2 down the backstretch. Mark Poole with not quite as much advantage as he had in turns 1 and 2 on the last restart, and now he's feeling the pressure of Glenn Galt Jr. Galt moves to the inside of Poole on the last restart. Poole was challenging Black for the lead. Now Galt is stealing the runner-up position from the Pennsylvania veteran. Galt steals 2nd position. Here comes George Skora to challenge Poole for 3rd. Steve Black remains the leader on lap 77. Mark Poole on the outside of George Skora. Poole, the winner at Motordrome 2 weeks ago. Skora with 2 podium finishes in his Motordrome season and a TBRA win at Lake Erie. Fighting for 3rd spot, and at the scoring line, it's Skora by inches on lap 78, taking the 3rd position from Poole as they race door to door. Galt and Black pulling away by several car lengths. Barry Audi is the 5th place car. Cody Coughlin has advanced to 6th in his first Motordrome start. Still wheel to wheel for third. Skora and Poole losing ground to the leaders with their fight for third spot. Galt has caught the rear bumper of leader Steve Black as again Skora beats Poole to the scoring line. 20 laps to go. Skora now completes the pass for third. Once again finding himself in a podium position at Motordrome is New York's George Skora, looking for his first checkered flag here in Smithton. Headed into turn one, Steve Black, the race-long leader, feeling the pressure of Hubbard, Ohio's Glenn Galt Jr. Galt in car 32, the son of a former Motordrome champion and former NASCAR Northeast champion. Galt himself, the Lake Erie Speedway former champion. Galt with wins in 3 separate touring series. He's taken a checkered flag in the ASA North Tour, the Mid-Atlantic Asphalt Racing Alliance, and the TBRA. Challenging former Motordrome Truck Division champion Steve Black out of turn 4. They have both pulled away from the 65 of Skora, working lap 83. Black seems more comfortable half a groove higher on the speedway, Galt using the lowest possible lane. Place your bets now that an orange car is going to win the Piney Lasky Memorial 100. Next time by, 15 laps remaining. Steve Black looking for the biggest win of his career. Galt Jr. looking for his second win at a speedway where he began his career racing legacy cars in the 1990s. Black's advantage on the backstretch, a full car length over Galt. Turn 4 is where Galt seems to be the superior handling race car. Toyota in front, Chevrolet in second. Skora with a Chevrolet in third. He is gaining on the lead duo, but will likely run out of time to challenge for the win unless we have a late race caution flag. Black increases his advantage by another car length. Nearly equal spacing now between the top 3 drivers as Skora is gaining on Galt and Black is putting distance between himself and the second place driver. Battle for 4th now with Barry Oddie, Mark Poole, and Cody Coughlin. That battle entering turn 3. Oddie seems to have a strong race car, but started deep in this field tonight. Coughlin very impressive in this, his first ever visit to Motordrome with 10 laps remaining. Jimmy Carter in the 28 joins that 4-car fight. Up front, Galt now gaining some of those car lengths back on leader Steve Black. 9 laps to go. The Motordrome Speedway Subway late model season will come to a close. Steve Black, the winner of a 50-lap event last Friday for his first win in 2 years. Glenn Galt Jr. similarly with 1 win on the year at Motordrome, his in a TBRA 100-lap event. Seven laps to go, and on the backstretch, a 4-car battle for 4th position. Mark Poole, Barry Oddie, defending race winner Jimmy Carter, and young Cody Coughlin. They go 3 wide on the front stretch. 6 laps remaining, and drivers fighting for top 5 positions, hounding one another at the, and we're 3 wide again on the backstretch. Carter to the inside. Poole clears Oddie. It's now Poole in sole possession of 4th place. Here comes Jimmy Carter, the Brook Park, Ohio driver, challenging Oddie with 5 to go. Best battle on the speedway is for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Carter takes the spot from Audi and is quickly challenging Poole as they enter turn 3. Jimmy Carter may be as fast now as he was last season when he dominated this event, as he now officially by inches takes the 4th position from Mark Poole, but time is running out. Carter secures the 4th position with only 4 laps to go. They are significantly behind the leader in this battle, as Steve Black holds an advantage of about 5, maybe 6 car lengths on the straightaway over Glenn Galt Jr. George Scora in car 65, displaying a loose handling condition, sliding the car each lap out of turn 4, as the signal of 2 laps to go, given to Steve Black in car 1. Behind Black, Glenn Galt Jr. and George Scora from Ohio and New York respectively, each with multiple podium finishes at Motordrome in 2012, but taking the white flag, the former champion of the Motordrome Pro Truck Division, a 3-time career winner in the NASCAR Subway Late Models, coming to the finish line in the biggest event of the season. Steve Black will win the Piney Lasky Memorial. Glenn Galt Jr. finishing 2nd, George Scora 3rd, Jimmy Carter up to 4th, and Mark Poole finishing in 5th. Finishing in 3rd position, the current points leader in the TBRA Late Model Series from Eden, New York, in car 65, George Scora. Finishing in 2nd spot, from Hubbard, Ohio, in car 32, Glenn Galt Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Black has won the Piney Lasky Memorial 100. A jubilant crew in victory lane. Steve Black, you are a winner of the Piney Lasky Memorial 100. How does it feel?
It feels great. I didn't think we'd ever make a 100-lapper. We've been chasing these for 5 years here and just haven't had a chance. We and my guys and Scott Baker gave me an excellent car tonight. It was flawless. It never gave up a bit.
You finally hit your stride in the later portion of the season. I'm sure that you would give up 5 other wins this season just to be standing here in victory lane among this competition tonight.
Absolutely. There's a lot of good cars here tonight, and we had the best one. And it wasn't the driver, it was definitely the car.
3 times before you've stood here holding a checkered flag. Tonight, a race that's been won by drivers from North Carolina, from drivers from all parts of this country. Does it have a different feeling after that run to be standing here now and looking at that hat trophy?
I feel like tonight we raced the best of the best, and it's great to be here in victory lane. And I couldn't give Scott Baker and my crew, I can't give them enough of a hand. They're the guys that did it. We couldn't be here without them.
And before the celebration continues, a chance to thank all the sponsors on this beautiful Toyota.
I want to thank all my sponsors, Mealy, Penn West Toyota Lift, Texas Roadhouse, Scott Baker, Steve's Auto Service, Black Mountain Enterprise, just everybody that helps. The crew, they're excellent. They stick with me through thick and